We've all had our emails flooded by advertisements for male enhancement drugs and herbs. We've seen the advertisements that are on the increasingly on during sporting events, all promising increased sexual performance and treating various sorts of sexual dysfunction that men suffer with. I wonder if you've ever thought that complicated grief after an abortion can be connected to some episodes of male sexual dysfunction. There was a national program by Dr. Phil where he had a couple that he interviewed. And this young couple were recently married. They had been sexually active prior to their marriage, but since the wedding, they've been struggling and suffering with sexual problems in their marriage. Specifically, the husband was suffering with sexual dysfunction, unable to consummate the marriage act. So Dr. Phil began to explore with this couple their relationship. He discovered that they had an abortion during their engagement period. And it seems that the father had pressured her to have the abortion as the best decision at that time. But she began to suffer some of the symptoms of post-abortion depression and pain. And he began to see that this abortion had hurt his fiancée and then his bride-to-be. It was an extension of his pain at seeing the suffering of his fiancée and then wife, and his guilt and his grief and his shame at his role in that abortion decision that was very closely connected with his inability to consummate their marriage. Very sadly, that wound that takes place in the heart of intimacy, and that so many couples unfortunately are tempted to abort prior to their wedding, and then has various symptoms that occur. And one of the symptoms for women and men can be sexual dysfunction. Dr. Phil was able to point to the abortion as being connected to some of the problems they were experiencing, the sexual dysfunction. However, he didn't really understand that you couldn't just recognize that issue and then move on, which is what he advised them. They need to heal of that abortion loss. He needs to deal with those very complex and deep feelings of shame and grief and guilt as a man, and they need to heal of that a loss as a couple and find forgiveness and to reconnect in love with that aborted child. That will be the beginning of them being able to reclaim the sexual dignity and the sexual intimacy that God wants them to have. But healing has to be a very important part of that. And that's why in Rachel's Vineyard we have the blessing of couples being able to come, husband and wife, and go through that retreat process together. It's very beautiful to see the beginning of the restoration and healing of their marriage at every level. And we hear so many couples talk about one of the gifts and fruits of the Rachel's Vineyard retreat is an increase in their communication, in their sense of safety and being able to be intimate on emotional levels and communication. And of course, when you have that trust and safety, then the sexual relationship is going to be that much more increased in terms of satisfaction and overall joy and pleasure, which again is God's will for us. Thank you.